I've never been more confident that the best days for us XRP holders are still ahead. And here's something exciting. Did you know altcoin compression is at an all-time high? It's true. In this video, I'll break down exactly why that's such a big deal and why there's so much reason to feel optimistic. I've been checking out insights from around 10 different XRP chart analysts, and there's a growing consensus. It looks like XRP is gearing up for a breakout to the upside, and it might happen sooner rather than later. In fact, more and more analysts are saying we could see this happen as early as this summer. That's exciting because, let's be honest, summers are usually pretty quiet in the crypto market. But as I've mentioned, over the past few weeks in the fourth year of a bull cycle, which is where we are now, summers have been anything but boring during the last few cycles. We've seen tons of activity and strong upward price momentum during this time. Before we dive in, let me be super clear. I don't have a financial background and this isn't financial advice. Please don't make any buying or selling decisions based solely on what I say. Okay, cool. So as I'm recording this on Wednesday, June 25th, 2025, XRP is sitting at $2.18. And Bitcoin is at $107,411.00. Things have been pretty steady over the past 24 hours, but hey, no worries, just wait until things really start to move. I just came across a post from Crypto Insight UK where he highlighted an interview he did with Credible Crypto back on December 5th, 2024. What's wild is that this was just about a month and a half before XRP finally hit a new all-time high. After more than 7 years, it's amazing how spot on Credible Crypto's predictions for this XRP cycle have been. Honestly, I think he's one of the best out there. It was so cool to see Crypto Insight UK and Credible Crypto dive into this conversation. Both of these guys are awesome, and I've shared some of their insights before, but check this out. Crypto Insight UK just reshared this video and said, guys, take a moment and have a refresher. In the video, Credible Crypto breaks down some exciting targets for XRP after this consolidation phase, which looks like it's just about wrapped up. So what's next? Let me fill you in. Credible Crypto actually reposted it this afternoon and said, if you're an XRP holder or thinking about becoming one, you really need to watch this. Here's my take on XRP from a technical analysis perspective and the $20 to $30 cycle end targets I've been talking about for years. I've been following one of the top experts in the space, and so far he's been spot on. Even now, half a year later, his confidence hasn't wavered. He's still saying that XRP is most likely to not just hit low double digits, but possibly climb into the $20, $30 range. I just wanted to share this because his track record speaks for itself, and it's exciting to see such strong conviction from one of the best in the game. Here's a post from the blockchain backer. That's a good one. He says, it's been a long journey to get here, but here we are. On the right, you can see Bitcoin's price action from 2020. Remember March that year? Bitcoin dropped all the way down to around $3,600 during the pandemic-induced flash crash. It felt like the world was ending. If you were there, you know what I mean. But guess what? Things didn't just bounce back. They took off. Bitcoin went on an absolute tear after that, kicking off alt season and everything. There's always some narrative out there claiming it's the end of the world, right? But what do you mean by that? Don't you see what's happening on a bigger scale? It's not actually happening. Sure, there are geopolitical tensions, but that doesn't mean everything's falling apart. So this morning, the blockchain backer posted something interesting, basically saying, hey, it took some time, but we made it here. He's pointing out how the current structure playing out looks a lot like what happened before. You can see he's talking about this ABC structure here, which he's been predicting for months, and now it seems to be unfolding just as he expected. Okay, so here's the deal. This is a fresh post from today, and he's pointing out some really interesting similarities. Now, check this out. Back on February 28th, he made a post highlighting the same thing. At the time, you couldn't be 100% sure how it would play out, but guess what? It did, and it looks pretty spot on now. But wait, it gets even better. Here are two more posts from the blockchain backer that are super interesting. The bottom one is from yesterday. Yep, just yesterday, where he said, Coinbase versus altcoin market, you're not bullish enough. For this, he used the total 3 chart, which tracks the top 125 coins, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. So basically, it's everything else in that category. That's what he's referring to with the pinkish, maybe purplish, magenta looking line, whatever you want to call it, that's overlaid on top of Coinbase's stock price, you know, the cryptocurrency exchange. But here's the fascinating part. If you look closely, you'll notice that total 3 is mirroring what Coinbase is doing, but with a slight delay. It's almost like if this trend continues, you could get a little peek into the future. Look what just happened last week. Coinbase took off. If Total 3 continues to follow this trend, which by the way includes XRP, we could see it start surging upward pretty soon. Yesterday, this was shared and it got reposted again this morning with an update. This time, instead of Total 3, the focus is on Total 2. For context, Total 2 tracks the top 125 coins, excluding Bitcoin, but including Ethereum, unlike Total 3, which excludes Ethereum. The purple line on the chart represents Total 2 layered over Coinbase's stock price. The big takeaway, this morning it was pointed out that Coinbase just broke past its December highs. The message was clear. You're still not bullish enough on your altcoins. Honestly, it's hard to argue with that. Looking back at the end of 2023, the connection is so clear now. I'm definitely going to keep a closer eye on this moving forward. It's not surprising that it's probably flown under most people's radar. I'm really glad he pointed this out. He's the first person I've seen mention it. Sure, people talk about Coinbase now and then, but not in this specific context. The idea of Coinbase leading the way for what happens with alts, that's not something I've seen much, but it does make sense. After all, Coinbase hasn't been a publicly traded company for very long, so it's understandable that not many people are paying attention to it in this way. It'll be interesting to see if this pattern continues. To be honest, I don't see any reason why it would suddenly stop. You know who else noticed this? Crypto Wizard, the chart analyst. Shared the same info here showing Total 2 lined up right on top of Coinbase's stock price. On the chart, Coinbase is the blue line. His message, don't fight it. Coinbase is still going strong, and check out what always happens with altcoins. The pump is inevitable. He's pointing out a clear correlation. Altcoins tend to lag behind Coinbase's moves, but when they catch up, wow, things get wild. Here's an interesting take from chart analyst TechDev. He shared this with his 532,000 followers on X, and it's about the total crypto market cap excluding Bitcoin. So Total 2, according to him, altcoin compression is at an all-time high, and when expansion happens, it'll be unlike anything the market has ever seen. Honestly, he could be spot on with this, and I wouldn't be surprised at all for so many reasons. There are plenty of metrics we're watching that point to what might be coming. One big one is global M2, which I've talked about a lot before, though I'll save that topic for another time. Check this out. See what he's pointing out here? These are Bollinger Bands. Look how tight they are right now. Now compare this to the previous cycle in 2020, heading into 2021. Remember how tight they were back then? And then they expanded and the market went absolutely crazy. Well, guess what? They're even tighter now. Tightest in history, actually. While Bollinger Bands don't tell you exactly whether the market is going to explode up or down, they do signal that a major move is coming. At their whole purpose. And since we're in a bull market, I'm betting we're heading up. Everything's lining up for this. And yes, XRP is part of the picture too. Don't underestimate this metric. It's a big deal. Trust me, this is worth paying attention to. Check this out. There's a post from April 16th last year about XRP/USD. Some charting expert pointed out that the XRP monthly Bollinger Bands were the tightest they've ever been in history, with a width of just 0.7. For context, the previous record was back in 2017 when the width hit 0.73, and that was just 1 month before a huge move. The post even joked, probably nothing, but let's be real, it's definitely something. Take a look again at that April data. It's over a year ago now, but it's fascinating to see those bands at their tightest ever. Take a look at how tight things got during the last cycle. Even with the SEC going after XRP, it's still tightened up and signaled that something big was on the horizon. Since we were in a bull market, the price moved up. Now, if you look back at 2017, the tightest point in XRP's history, bam, it broke out and absolutely skyrocketed. The price just ripped to the upside, especially in the first half of 2017. And get this, after that big move, it consolidated for about half a year, give or take. But at that point, it was crystal clear. It was only a matter of time before a breakout happened. And when it did, wow, XRP went big. It became the top performing coin, #1 out of the top 100 coins by market cap since the election. This is definitely a metric worth paying attention to. What's really interesting is that things have tightened up again. XRP's Bollinger Bands are back to being super tight. I don't have a chart handy for this video, but it's worth mentioning since we're on the topic. They've expanded for a bit, but now they're tightening up again, which isn't surprising. XRP has been consolidating for about 6 months now after hitting its all-time high of $3.40. When TechDev says that altcoin compression is at a record high and the upcoming expansion will be unlike anything we've seen before, take it seriously. Things are about to get absolutely crazy in the market. Check this out. Casey Trades just shared an XRP/USD chart, and it's worth a look. Casey's been watching this trend line support closely, calling it the key level to hold. And guess what? XRP just bounced off it perfectly. The correction has already hit the .382 retracement at $2.14, which also lines up with the apex of consolidation, pretty much the most important short-term level on the chart right now. Here's the deal. If XRP breaks below that level, it could signal weakness, but for now it's holding strong, and the price action is exactly what you want to see if XRP is serious about continuing its upward trend. And the price is making a move back toward the $2.25 resistance level. That's the next big hurdle to watch. If we can break through and flip that level, it could pave the way for a test at $2.69. From there, the breakout potential gets really exciting. Let me say it again. XRP is still holding strong above the consolidation zone, which is a super bullish sign. Combine that with the impulsive structure forming off the low. Let's see if this trendline bounce has enough momentum to break through resistance and kick off what could be the start of a true wave 3 rally. Honestly, we're in such an exciting time for crypto right now. Any day you could wake up and things could just take off. Even if the market moves sideways a bit longer, that's totally normal. And sure, there might be a day where prices dip a little, but it doesn't change the bigger picture. Everything is lining up so perfectly right now that the idea of not breaking out to the upside feels almost impossible to me. Here's an update from chart analyst Peppa. XRP's 44-day bull flag might finally be coming to an end. But Peppa isn't the only one talking about this. Plenty of chart analysts are sharing why they believe XRP is on the verge of a big breakout. Sure, there's some debate about the exact timing, whether it's today, tomorrow, next week, or next month, but the excitement is real. More and more, I'm seeing a consensus among the analysts I follow. XRP is ready to take off. And honestly, when these experts share similar predictions, they're almost always right. That's why this is so exciting to watch. Chart analyst Dark Defender is sharing some good news for XRP. In the short term, it looks like XRP might make a nice little jump, potentially climbing closer to $2.30. Definitely a reason to feel optimistic. It's already sitting above one of the key levels he's been pointing out. So things are looking up. Here's a post from chart analyst Cryptology sharing his thoughts on XRP and saying the show must go on. Don't worry about the exact time frame here. It's just a rough sketch to show where he thinks XRP might head in the short term. He's pointing out a potential move to $6, not saying that's the peak, but giving an idea of where things could go next. If you're wondering how high XRP might climb, he's been pretty vocal lately, suggesting we could see it hit at least $10. It's something he's been confident about for months now. In the short term, though, his message is clear. XRP is on the move. Of course, it won't be a perfectly straight shot to $6, but progress is progress. Check this out. Chart analyst Love Crypto just shared an XRP price chart, and he's pointing out a lot of fear in the market right now. That's just one of the reasons I think Bitcoin could hit new all-time highs this summer, with XRP climbing back to $3.40. Sounds exciting, right? Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it happens. Oh, and speaking of this summer, the blockchain backer was just talking about this recently too. He thinks there's a really strong chance we're going to see the market take off in a big way. Lately, I've noticed more and more reputable chart analysts admitting, yeah, this really isn't looking good. They share their reasons, breaking down what they see in the charts and looking at things from a historical perspective. Even the blockchain backer weighed in, saying there's a good chance we'll start seeing movement soon, maybe not at the very start of summer, but possibly in the second half. And let's be real, summer is only 3 months long, so that's not far off at all. If this does take off, it would make sense. It lines up with historical patterns. Check out this post from chart analyst Steph Pala. He's calling for a massive XRP breakout soon and sticking to his prediction. And he's not alone. Tons of analysts are saying the same thing, pointing out that XRP is sitting in a symmetrical triangle and approaching the apex. They believe it's going to break out before it gets there. The conviction is strong across the board. And I keep seeing more and more posts backing this up. Check out this post from chart analyst X-Force Global. He's predicting XRP could hit around $27, 0 cents. Honestly, I'm not sure if it'll climb that high, but it's not as far-fetched as it might sound. If a massive wave of money flows into the crypto space, XRP could absolutely overheat in the best way possible. And let's be real, who wouldn't want to see that happen? Honestly, there's never been a better time to be an XRP holder. At least in my opinion, something big is on the horizon, and I think it's going to be good. Sure, it won't be a perfectly smooth ride straight up, but wow, we're really at a point where life-changing wealth feels within reach. The moment we've all been waiting for, XRP safely landing on the moon, is finally within reach. After everything our community has been through, all the ups and downs, it'll all be worth it. It's been a long and challenging journey, but the reward is just around the corner. Now, just a quick reminder, I'm not a financial advisor. Please don't make any buying or selling decisions based on what I say or write. Seriously, that wouldn't be the best idea. Always do your own research